I was Deputy National Secretary of APC. I was a member of NWC of APC. In fact, when APC came to Rivers State, the first local government that launched APC in Rivers State was Eleme local government on the 12th of December 2013, when I was chairman of council. At that point, it was, it was an anathema to mention APC in Rivers State. You know, we were attacked, our political rights were violated because we were bringing APC in Rivers State. And that's why I have opted out of APC, because I cannot remain in a political party that has no morals. You know, you hand over the party to the same set of people who did everything possible to exterminate. People died because of their belief in this APC in the states, all over the states. People sacrificed their lives because of their belief in APC. You know, no form of justice was offered to these people. And the same people who were behind the violence, the killing, because they didn't like APC in Rivers State at the time, are the same people who have been handed over the APC. So I cannot remain in that kind of gathering on basis of principle. I think that if there had been issues, if there had been internal disagreement, party mechanism should have been deployed to resolving whatever conflict that would have arisen in the party. I mean, it's a human organization. There is no human organization that is not, you know, prone to some level of conflict, you know. And so because people disagreed, appeared to, you know, take different kinds of position, of course, it's about interest. You don't completely throw away all of those who were at the foundation, who bear the brunt, those who made all these sacrifices. You throw them away because you have a new interest that the people at the top want to project.
Please, could you comment on the 27 Pro-Wike lawmakers who defected?
It's funny, that's part of what I'm saying, that they play politics that lacks a culture of honor. These are people who, on their own volition, defected, believing that their defection to APC will facilitate the process of removing the governor. They thought that by defecting to the ruling party at the national level, they will get the national backing to facilitate the removal of the governor. That's what I believe was their leitmotif for defecting. That was the motive behind their defection. And when they realized that that wasn't going to happen, probably they didn't receive the support they thought they would get, they suddenly had a change of mind. And just to want to give the impression that they are still in PDP to continue to destabilize the governor of the state. As far as my understanding of the law is concerned, they are not members of Rivers State House of Assembly. They have voluntarily vacated their seats, except all of the issues in courts say otherwise. Otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, the state has been operating without them. You know, they are not members of Rivers State House of Assembly, and of course, we have lost faith in them, and I think that's even important than even the position of law, if you ask me, because if you're representing somebody who doesn't think that you represent his interest, whatever you do there is of no use. You've lost that quality or that moral support to continue to represent the people, you know, and that's my take. We know that all they live for now, they are like those 27 members of the State House of Assembly that defected. They are just like a political army of the FCT minister now. And so the Rivers people too are prepared for them. From the perspective of a representation, as we think, as we believe it is, they've lost their office. They don't represent us anymore. The actions that they have taken do not reflect the position of the constituents that they represent. It's part of the political immorality that Wike is very well known for. You know, he wants to own everything. I think that it's wrong for a politician, you know, to belong to control, to want to control every political party for your selfish political interest. So I completely condemn it. I don't see how that inspires the growth of our democracy. We want to know where you belong and what you represent, the ideas that you reflect in your political practice. But what we have seen with Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, is what I will consider as a political harlotry. You know, it seems to be everywhere. You want to control everywhere. And so it's about us to interpret his personality with that kind of politics. You know, so I totally disagree with that style of politics. For me, Amaechi is someone that has empathy. It's a leader who cares about people. It's a people-oriented leader. It's a leader that is honest. You know, it's not what we see the other, you know, with the other person whose style of leadership is about just himself and perpetuating his political power. But for me, the difference is Amaechi is highly imaginative. He cares about people. He has empathy. He believes in the greater good of the greater number of people in the society. It's somebody whose leadership style is geared towards uplifting people in the society. So you cannot compare his style with that of Wike, for instance. It's like comparing a Rolls Royce with a Volkswagen Beetle. If you have followed the politics of Rivers State for some time, you will know that I'm among one of those that have been very virulent in my criticism of Wike and the entire 8 years as governor of Rivers State. And what I'm seeing today is part of the reason why some of us have always not been comfortable with his style of leadership. Because you have the former governor, Wike, for me, represents a character that lacks a culture of honor. He lacks integrity, and he sees politics just for power. Power for the sake of power. It's not about no iota of morality. It's just whatever you can do to play games with the system, to attain your aspiration. That's what he believes in. Whatever goes. I disagree with that style of politics. I think that those who aspire to lead must come with certain level of morality, must come with certain level of integrity, must come with certain level of culture of honor. That way you can inspire true development and growth, because we have a standard. That's the difference between us and most developed countries. Laws work there. Laws work to protect honor, to protect the law, to protect integrity. But here we have a situation where people can abuse the institutions, they can bribe their way through, they can just so they get what they want. And so, for me, Wike represents all that I consider wrong with our politics today. He's undemocratic, he's dictatorial. For 8 years, Rivers State was under the jackboot of tyranny. And so, all of that has accumulated into what's going on in the state today. Because when his tenure ended in 2015, he facilitated the emergence of the new governor. All of that was done for selfish reasons. It was done to perpetuate himself in office. But fortunately for Rivers people, he brought somebody who didn't share his perspective of power and governance. And that's what has saved the Rivers State today. And that's why people like us have joined the governor to restore the dignity of Rivers State, to pursue true development that is holistic, not what we saw during the 8 years of Wike's administration, where even development of the state was reflected in his jaundice notion of governance, just flyovers in 2 LGAs. There was no deliberate effort to embark on social engineering of development that lifted the lives of people, that lifted people, from the doldrums of underdevelopment. We didn't see that for 8 years. We saw projects that tended to enhance personal power, and be seen as the political juggernaut that, creating an aura of political invincibility. It was not about the people. It was about himself. There was no difference between himself and the states. Wike and Rivers State were contaminants. And so when his personal political interest is affected, he considers that the entire Rivers State is affected. And so the luck we have in this Rivers State is this governor doesn't share his perspective of governance. Now you have a governor who believes that governance is about people. He also has empathy. He thinks that governance should be lifting people. And so there is no way that the former governor's, Wike's style of governance, the way he wanted it to remain the emperor who continues to govern on Rivers State to be seen in his own image of governance. And if you ask me, that is at the core of this conflict. So I will tell you that the conflict is more or less contrived, because if you have governed and you have done your 8 years, the right thing to do is to leave and allow the person that has assumed office to prove himself. It's up to us, the people of Rivers State, to determine whether or not he has measured up to our expectation of what we expect from him in the governance of the state. You see, from my assessment of him, he's a very grateful and humble man. He knows that he has the power to do all of these things Rivers people are wanting him to do. But it's somebody who believes that true power is when you act responsibly with it. But what is important at the end of the day is that he's winning all the battles. He's winning all the battles. So if he's winning all the battles, should he act like the other person? I'm sure, all of us will just imagine what would have been if the reverse were the case right now in the States. But that is his own style. But the important thing is that it's giving him results. It's giving him results, Yeah, a lot of us feel that he would have been more vehement, but that's his own style. He understands that he had a very peculiar situation around him. So he deals with it with tact, with strategy, and with respect. You don't hand over to somebody and expect him to see governance from your own perspective. Let me tell you for sure, mark it today, there is a seismic shift in the politics of Rivers State today as we speak. That is, the support for the governor is beyond political alignment and realignment. It's a movement. The shift in the politics of Rivers State today is deliberate, intentional, behind the governor to stop this propensity to see Rivers State as the personal property of an individual. When you really look at you try to analyze the subsets of the behavior of the political practitioners in Rivers State, you see that they are separated. Those I call political parasites who believe they can only live on the politics of Rivers State are on the side of Wike. But true, well-meaning, discerning Rivers people who mean well and want the growth of Rivers State. Both old, young, women, men are all behind the governor. And I believe that Rivers State will triumph at the end of the day. I believe that. I don't care, I don't know what powers or whatever, whoever they choose to deceive in Abuja. But in Rivers State, we will stand for Rivers State. We will mobilize for Rivers State under Governor Siminalayi Fubara. And I don't see any other results to respond directly to your question. I don't see any other result but the triumph of Rivers State, because these individuals cannot overwhelm Rivers State. They cannot. They cannot, because I believe that the governor stands on the right part of history. It's on the right part of the moral divide of the conflict in Rivers State today. And Rivers people understand that, and that's the reason for the massive mobilization behind him. And so for me, anybody who is not seeing it, you at the end of the day, you'll be on the side of the losing side. But as far as I'm concerned, I've been here, I've been a local government chairman twice, elected twice, appointed caretaker committee chairman twice. I've been a grassroots politician for so long before I ventured into national politics and became deputy national secretary before becoming an ambassador representing Mr. President and this nation in a foreign mission. I understand a bit of Rivers politics, and Rivers people do not like oppression. In the face of this, like I said, contrived crisis, he has performed wonderfully well. Don't forget that he just rounded off a gamut of projects that were commissioned. Probably the whole of this month was assigned for commissioning. And the ones that have not been commissioned, that are nearing different stages of completion, that even more when they get to the point of commissioning them. For instance, the ring road. I don't know if there has been any project within the urban areas of Rivers State or Port Harcourt that would give the economic benefits that the ring road project potentially offers. Same thing with the Trans-Calabari Road, which, from my understanding, have reached very advanced stages, both of them, advanced stages of completion. And you also, besides the infrastructural project that he has delivered quite commendably within this short period of time, you also see humility in leadership, respect for people. You know, that's what Rivers State is known for. Before the Wike era, you hardly know how ethnically diverse Rivers State was, because we're all the same. Every Rivers man everywhere, you're proud of yourself. But the Wike era brought so much disunity and, you know, emphasized the diversity, because he ran a government that deliberately excluded certain segments of Rivers people. But we have seen the difference now. And you see a governor who understands the values behind the creation of Rivers State. That's how I see this governor. He understands that this state was created to meet very important development needs of our people. When Rivers State was created, if you go into your history, apart from fear of marginalization, which we had with our bigger neighbors, we also wanted a situation where we have a state that will be committed to actual development of Rivers State, given the peculiar challenges our terrain offers. So our forefathers who were fighting for the creation of Rivers State wanted a Rivers State where a Rivers person will have the political will to commit funds to big development. And that's what this governor is doing. Spending Rivers money in areas where if you're not a true Rivers person, you'll be afraid to spend money. But what did we have under Wike for 8 years? Was donating Rivers money for all kinds of frivolous causes to serve his personal political aggrandizement. That's what we saw for 8 years. States that are legally speaking, every state is one legal unit. Now you become Father Christmas to them. You become a laughingstock because you just wanted to project your personal political aspiration when the state was in dire need of development, especially, coming from the Taik region where it requires so much money to commit to development. The states where Wike donated money to didn't need half of what we need to develop the states. But because it's about him, it's about himself, he didn't understand the imperative of committing huge amount of money to building real life-changing projects. It was the flowery things, urban renewal, expanding existing road, tarring road again, building flyovers in front of his house and in his own local government. What happens to other AGs? What happens? There was no economic blueprint. In all of the indices, Rivers State fell behind during Wike's regime. In education, primary schools were left abandoned. The transition from primary to secondary was the lowest for those of us who follow the educational projection of our states. The transition from secondary to university has remained poor as well. Nobody cared. Of course, he brought students that the Amaechi era sponsored abroad. He brought all of them back. He brought them back on the excuse that he could not fund them. But it was very convenient for him to dash money to Sokoto State, Akwa Ibom State, Benue State, Lagos women, wives of, it's sad, very sad. And so it's that tendency, all of that tendency, to see Rivers State as his personal business, as his personal estate. Of course, we all know what happened in terms of personal ownership and investment businesses in the state. We know that as governor, he practically acquired half of Rivers State, So for that kind of person, why would you not have conflict when he hands over? That's what we are faced. We are faced with the challenge of having a governor for 8 years who was extremely greedy, was power drunk, wanting to perpetuate himself in power. And his political calculation in perpetuating himself in power didn't just work out. So what we are facing now is the consequence of his failure to achieve his personal political aspiration.
Okay. What message of encouragement can you give to Fubara?
As Rivers people, we have to be bold with our support for the governor, because I think that what is going on in the state is not just a fight between the governor and his predecessor. I think it's about a fight for the freedom and future of Rivers people. It's a fight about whether or not we can claim to be part of Rivers State and be part of the governance of the state. That is what I think this fight is about. Because if Wike and his group have their way, it means that Rivers State will fall in the hands of a few political mercenaries who do not care about the interest of Rivers people. They are like a fighting army who are just out to loot the resources of the state. They see the resources of the state as their personal enterprise. You've heard them say it, that Rivers State is their personal business. They are just after the resources of the state. They don't care about anybody else. So it is the duty of Rivers people to say, wait a minute, governing Rivers State is a trust. You win election, you are entrusted with the responsibility to govern Rivers State. It's not your personal business. You are holding it in trust for the people. And you give account when you are asked to give account. And it's crucial that we support the governor to maintain that Rivers State belongs to all of us. It's our collective patrimony. It does not belong to any individual or group of individuals. And so if you ask me, that is the fight. And we will do our best to conscientize Rivers people. I've never been involved in political groups before, but I'm involved in one now, Supreme Council for SIM, to ensure that we deepen this process of sensitizing people to the facts, the real narrative, the real interpretation of this political crisis, so people don't reduce it to quarrel between the governor and his predecessor. No, it's beyond that. It's about us, Rivers people, coming out to say, looking at the political trajectory in the state, we cannot accept a situation where one man feels that he owns the state and will abridge our freedom and our right to be included in the governance of the state. So because all I see Wike trying to create is to create a behemoth, a political behemoth, with him at the top, fueled by patronage, where he alone determines who gets what in the state. And I think that is wrong. And that's the reason we are prepared to do whatever it takes legally to stop that, for the good of our state, for our own good, and for the good of our children. He should just know that Rivers people are with him and just remain very firm, very strong, which I have seen that there are qualities that he has demonstrated so far, and very focused. I mean, his primary constituency is the over 7 million Rivers residents we have in the state. That's his primary constituency. You know, he has shown that it's even bigger than the so-called crisis. He has proven that. I mean, less than 2 years, we've seen what he has achieved, both in terms of infrastructure and human capital development. We've seen it. And that's it. The only way you can continue to overcome is to perform and deliver services. As governor, your only duty is to deliver services to the people. And as long as he's doing that, all of these tendencies to distract him will fail. They are failing already, you know, because you know his peaceful approach and his humble disposition practically even disarmed those who before now were tending to support the dictatorship of the states, you know. And so we think that his approach, his style, his strategy is working.
Can you recount some of your experiences as the ambassador, Nigeria's ambassador to Netherlands?
Yes.
And what were you able to bring to Nigeria?
Thank you. Very good question. I think it was an experience that has defined me, you know, as a person. You know, for somebody who was a local government chairman, became the Deputy National Secretary of APC, and from nowhere, thrown into the world of diplomacy, especially in a very critical mission for this country, like the Netherlands. It was quite a humbling experience, and also opportunity for me to have. I had tremendous experience, you know, in engaging leaders globally. In terms of what we were able to achieve, we both ways, because it was one mission where I was both a bilateral and multilateral ambassador. You know, we're able, my bilateral responsibilities, we're able to deepen the relations between Nigeria and Netherlands. We signed a memorandum of understanding that deepened our relations in terms of investment. If you recall that in 2019, I was here with the Prime Minister of Netherlands, and that's the picture you're seeing there. That's the former Prime Minister of Netherlands, who were here, and we came with all of the with some of the business moguls, and a lot of bilateral agreements in investment and trade were signed. And I think, if I recall very well, almost 4 billion euro worth of investment between Nigeria and Netherlands. Then, on the multilateral side, we enhanced Nigerian image with all the multilateral institutions in the Netherlands. Recall also that in 2018, Buhari visited Netherlands to deliver a keynote address at the ceremony marking the 20th anniversary of the Statute of Rome that created the ICC. You know, how Buhari got there was part of our diplomatic expertise. You know, because of all the Nigerian presidents, we were able to have Buhari to visit, and that gave that organization confidence in Nigeria's belief in rule of law and ensuring that we help in the process of ensuring that we stamp out crime of aggression in the global system. So we made Nigeria a very big voice during our stay in the Netherlands. We played also a very crucial role in OPCW, that's the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, where I was privileged to serve as the African coordinator of all the African ambassadors there. I was elected as their coordinator in OPCW. OPCW is an organization charged with responsibility of ensuring the management and implementation of the Chemical Weapon Convention. We ensure that globally the use of chemical weapons is used for legal purposes, not for illegal purpose. You know, so we do not want people introducing use of chemical weapons, especially in wars and all of that. That's our responsibility, and I believe that we did a great work of it. You know, and other things. I mean, I represented Nigeria on Committee 6 at the UN, you know, and I believe that we made a modest contribution in deepening Nigeria's interests where we served and also enhancing our image globally.
Thank you.